the cars that you most want but can't have. So I was checking out this data on the most Google searches for the rarest cars out there. And at number 1 was the Lexus LFA. What a thing that is. I drove one at Yas Marina Circuit a few years ago. It was one of the best cars I've ever driven. And the noise that it made, wow. But that V10 engine is just incredible. Anyway, there were nearly 43,000 searches. And there's only 3 of them registered in the UK. And I filmed one of them at the recent London concourse. The vid's on my channel, actually. And one of these was sold for nearly £600,000. So it's rare, it's brilliant, and it's expensive. My goodness. But I'll tell you what, though, it's well worth checking out. A distant second was the McLaren P1. Now, there were over 14,000 searches for that car, but just 4 are actually registered. Now, that's a bit of a surprise because it's a hypercar, sure, but they made 450 of those, and it's a UK company. It's a homegrown hypercar. So where did all of those go? Are they all left the country? Middle East, perhaps? Quite a few in the Middle East, I know, but probably in America, that's where most of them are. But where's the rest of them? A distant third was the Lamborghini Centenario, which is basically a Lamborghini Aventador in a posh frock, let's be honest. Anyway, over 2,000 searches for that car and only 1 registered in the UK. So fat chance getting hold of that one. And brand new, well, there were only 40 of these made, and brand new, they were like £1.59 million to buy one. But you know what? Just get an Aventador. I mean, there's plenty around. There's one parked down this road. So let's look at what else was on that list. And next up, you had the Maserati MC12. 1,980 searches, 1 registered. But the next one is an interesting one. A bit of a thinking man's supercar, if you like. The Noble M600. That's quite rare. Only 4 of them registered. Again, despite being a homegrown UK car. But 6,640 searches for those cars. Next up, the Ford RS200. 11,700 searches. Only 8 registered. That's a weird one, that car. I tell you, again, where did the rest of those cars go? Because surely there were a lot more of that in the UK. Again, pretty much a UK car. A car lost before its time, something of a would-be rally legend if it had ever been allowed to really race in anger. But what a thing, though. Next, the Fiat 131. That is an oddity. 3,740 searches, only 3 left. That's on rarity value alone, that makes it interesting. And if you thought that was odd, next up is the Skoda Estelle. 4,880 searches, 4 registered. You know, a lot of these cars have been lost due to the thanks for that damn scrappage scheme has got rid of these cars. That's the problem. But anyway, next up, the Polestar 1. 3 registered. Well, it is just a new car still, isn't it? And 3,050 searches for that. The last one on the list to round out the top 10, Aston Martin 177. Only 3 registered in the UK. Again, UK-born sports car, supercar. Where are they? Well, I know one is, well, it did serve time as a Dubai police car. I saw that one up close, so that was there. I don't know where the rest of them are. So what about the most searched for cars that are actually available and perhaps even a little bit more affordable? At number 1, one of my absolute favorites, and this is no surprise to me, and it's quite rightly sitting in this position, the Ford Mustang. It's 79,000 searches, and there are 11,000 of these registered, and don't forget you can still buy them new as well, properly in the V8 form. They are brilliant cars, and you know, to be honest, like, to my mind, probably the current new coolest car that you can buy in terms of it doesn't have to try too hard. It is a Ford Mustang. It is probably the car that's featured in more films and TV shows than any other car out there. Make sure you get it as a V8, and if you get it as a V8, it's pretty much the best value for money performance that you can currently buy, even at, you know, 45 to 50 grand. There were just slightly less searches for the Jaguar F-Type, with nearly 14,000 out there, and that's another great car. I do like the F-Types. They look beautiful. They're the right sort of size for London. They're not too big, they're not too small, they got a presence about them, but they also got very sexy style as well. It's very, very Jaguar, very, very E-Type, is that sort of thing. Certainly a kind of successor to the XK, although technically it wasn't classed as a successor, but yeah, brilliant car. So yeah, that deserves to be up there. And that one, you know, I won't say they get it in the V8 because I've driven it in V6, guys, and I've driven it in 4-cylinder, guys, and actually the 4-cylinder was beautifully balanced. So I might actually say, you know, if you're living around town and stuff, get the 4-cylinder. It's brilliant. Plenty of used ones out there. Go for it. And last of the top three, I should say, is another absolutely brilliant car, which of course I can heartily recommend, and that's the BMW M4. 59,000 searches and over 13,000 registered. Plenty to choose from. In fact, you know, even considering M4 is a more recent iteration, if you like, of the two-door M3. But of course the cars are brilliant to drive, brilliant, you know, in every way, brilliantly engineered, brilliantly built. So yeah, no surprises there. So what else rounded out the list of the top 10 of the cars that you search for the most, which you could possibly attain and buy? Audi S3, 129,000 searches and 31,000 of those registered. That's a good car. Suzuki Jimny, I really like those. 94,000 searches, 25,000 registered. That's a good thing because you can't buy them new anymore, which is a shame because it's a relatively new car. But because of emissions and stuff, that sort of killed it off. Great, funky little car, fun little thing. A proper urban warrior, an urban 4x4 off-roader. Get that, it's really cool, I like it. But not a lot of space. If you've got family, you might want to rethink that. The BMW M3 is next at nearly 74,000 searches, but 20,000 registered, plenty around. The Morris Minor is up next at 55,390 searches, but amazingly and thankfully, there's still over 15,200 of them registered. So there is plenty of choice out there, and you know, I think they're looking even better now than they've ever looked. I think they're looking like proper affordable, perhaps even daily drivable classics. So definitely check those out. Audi S5 was next, 37,000 searches, over 10,000 registered, and then you've got the BMW X6. That's a bit of an oddity. 48,000 searches for that. Over, well, nearly 16,000 of those registered. The Porsche Boxster, next. Often people say it's the poor man's 911 convertible, but actually being mid-engine, it's the better balanced, better handling car. Definitely worth checking out. And you know, some of those are really affordable now. Some of the earlier ones, very, very affordable, although that does mean beware of expensive repair and maintenance bills, but as long as you know what you're getting into, it's still a brilliant car to drive. 69,650 searches and well over 25,000 registered. So there you go. Those are the cars that you most search for and that you couldn't, or you could have. Tell me which ones you'd go for.
A big shout out and thanks to Jay Williams over at Air Technic, who are top tier sponsors of Brown Car Guy. Check them out at Air Technic Co UK for exhausts, brakes, suspension and body kits. Plus our other major sponsor, Nayagen Solutions. Much appreciation also to tier 4 sponsors, Muhammad Ali Humaid, Tom Conway Gordon and Reza Adil. And of course all these other guys who supporting on Patreon. Brown Car Guy is eternally grateful. Hey, think about joining them over at patreon.com Brown Car Guy. If you can't, don't worry. Just make sure you're subscribing to the YouTube channel and website. Plus follow on social media by searching for Brown Car Guy.